So here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. All right, I know I say this at the opening of darn near every show, but this one is extremely special, and I am super excited because we have none other than the amazing Daniel Aaron, who is going to be on here very, very soon. He's sitting in the green room right now, literally clawing at the glass saying, "Let me in, Brian. I want to be part of this." And I kid you not, this guy is amazing. We've become really close friends. At least I feel that way. I don't know. We'll find out from him if he feels the same way. We have a good time together. And he's just such a heartfelt, amazing, experienced, accomplished, successful human being. And I cannot wait to share his beauty, his brilliance, his essence with you, because that's what this show is all about. The Mind, Body, Business Show is a show I had put together with the intent, the sole intent of bringing you highly successful individuals so that when you listen to them, when they reveal their tips to success, all you have to do is, number one, write it down. The number two, do it. Take action on it. And there'll be many things you can take away from Daniel tonight. I guarantee it. I know this man very well now. At least I think I do. You always think you know somebody. Then no, I'm kidding. He's not one of those. He is genuine and true to the core, and I cannot wait to share him with you. So the Mind, Body, Business Show is about bringing on very successful entrepreneurs from all over the world so that you can simply model their success. And it's about what I call the 3 pillars of success. Now, for about a decade or so, I studied and focused on successful people, successful businessmen, successful businesswomen. And what I found over that course of time was that to become successful, they seem to have these 3 qualities, every single one, to a person. And you may have guessed that those 3 qualities are part of the very title of this show. Mind being mindset. To a person, each of these successful individuals had a very powerful, positive, and here's the most important part, flexible mindset. Yeah, very key to being a successful entrepreneur. And then body. Each and every individual that I studied that had achieved, in my view, a high level of success, also took care of them, literally took care of themselves physically through but both exercise and nutrition. And then business. One of my favorites, because business is so multifaceted. Each individual had mastered all the skill sets necessary to create a thriving business, and then also to scale it and ever improve it and keep growing it so they could serve more people and make this world a better place. And we're talking about skill sets that involve things like marketing, sales, team building, systematizing, leadership. I mean, I could go on for quite some time. And to master anything, including anyone's skill set, as you probably are aware, being an astute listener and viewer yourself, is that to master anything can take a very long time. I think it's I forget the exact number. Maybe Daniel can correct me when he comes on, but around 10,000 hours to become an expert at anything, and to master something is no different. The good news is you yourself do not have to master not even every skill set I just mentioned. You yourself. The key is in leveraging. And if you just master one skill set and one skill set only, and it was actually one of that tiny subset of skill sets I just mentioned, then you're set, because you can use that to leverage and bring in others who have those skills that you may not have, or you may never have, because of just time and being on this planet, how long it takes. And that one skill set, if you're curious what that one is, we'll tell you next show. I'm kidding. I'll tell you right now. It is a skill set of leadership. The moment you have mastered that, or even if you're on your way to mastering that, you can start bringing in people who have mastered the skill sets of those other areas that you have not yet mastered. And now you can leverage their brilliance and their genius in those areas and build your business faster. Bring them on your team. And that is another big part about this show is we are giving you literally many shortcuts to success, all with authenticity, all with integrity. I wouldn't do it any other way. And speaking of that, another wonderful, amazing quality of very successful people that I found during all these times of studying them is that to a person, they are also very avid readers of books. And with that, I want to segue very briefly. I promise briefly, then Daniel will be on to a quick segment I affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
Yes, Daniel Aaron, he will be on very, very soon, I promise. Yes, reachyourpeaklibrary.com. Real quick, soapbox moment, write those URLs down as we talk about them, as Daniel mentions resources. And by the way, he has a gift to give away. And yes, so do we. We'll mention that as soon as we bring Daniel on. Definitely write down URLs, web addresses, book titles, things like that, rather than succumb to that itch of wanting to go click away and watch and look at it while the show is going. Here's why. I would hate for your focus to be off looking at a resource while Daniel's talking, revealing that one golden nugget that could potentially change your life for the better forever. That would just be devastating to me personally. So I do this very same thing. While I'm running the show, I literally am taking notes. So I don't ask or teach people to do anything that I myself wouldn't do. All right, enough of my soapbox moment, because just please stay focused and listen to every word Daniel has, because he's coming on here in about a couple minutes. So be ready. Real quick, reachyourpeaklibrary.com. That is a website that I had built by my team, literally with you in mind. And the reason is because personally, I was not an avid reader until the age of 47, which was 11 years ago. Yeah, I know, everyone's doing the math. And the thing is, I realized, my gosh, this has a profound impact on my life. And so I began reading. And what I did was I compiled a list of books that were only those books that had a profound impact on me. In other words, not every book I've read since then made this list. So I had this put together with you in mind so that you could go find books that were at least vetted by one other successful individual, and thereby increasing your odds of not wasting time reading the book. Doesn't guarantee that it will have the same effect on you or any as it did with me, but it does increase those odds. So that's why I put this together, so you can just jump in there. This is not for making money. In fact, in all honesty, if you see a book you love and you have a go-to place for shopping for your books or other things, then just grab the title, search for it in your other resource that you acquire them from, and get it. The whole point of this is just read the next title that jumps out to you, read the description, and just grab one. They're not in any order whatsoever. They're just kind of thrown in here, not alphabetical, none of that. So that way you can peruse through them. There are many great books in here, as you probably have just seen. If you're watching live on the Mind Body Business Show, real quick, if you're not, you should be, because you get to engage and interact with amazing individuals like Mr. Daniel Aaron. I mean, come on. So go to themindbodybusinessshow.com, themindbodybusinessshow.com. Click on any of the buttons that say how and where to watch, and then opt in, and you'll just get reminded of the live show when we go live next. You'll also receive a gift of $300 worth just for doing that. And again, we don't spam, we don't pitch, we don't do any of that. Speaking of not spamming, not pitching, and being a phenomenal individual who brings nothing but massive value, you can probably guess who's coming on right now. Let's bring him on, shall we? Here he comes.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. It is the one, it is the only Mr. Daniel Aaron. How you doing, Daniel?
So good, so good. Thank you for having me, Brian. Thank you for that kind introduction.
Oh, you're very welcome. You know how your mom always says, don't point. That's why I do it, because, I'm a rebel. No, I love my mom. She was amazing. So I'm so excited for this, Daniel. You and I have spent literally hours together over so many different sessions on Zoom and strategizing. And that's why I'm so excited to have you on, is because I know you at a deeper level than most will get the opportunity to. And that's a good thing, because you have such a wonderful, beautiful golden heart. And you also have incredible experience that is results oriented. You get people results. When they come to Daniel Aaron, they walk away with results. And that's because he puts everything into everything he does. And I know this personally. I've seen the guy tick. He's very, he's detail oriented to the point where everything he does is on point, but he doesn't overdo it and go through paralysis by analysis. He's got that wonderful balance where he makes it so it'll work, and he just stops there and keeps moving on. And so the bottom line for him is for you to get results. And that's what I love about this guy. And just that he's become a dear friend of mine. We met some time ago on another seminar. So I always say, just show up, keep going to seminars, and keep interacting with people, networking, and you'll get to have an amazing experience and become friends with somebody like Daniel Aaron. Maybe you'll become a friend with everybody who watches the show. I don't know. What do you think, Daniel? Is that possible? Can you do that?
Indeed. So I feel like it's already happened.
Yeah, I love it. So real quick, a little bit of housekeeping. Mentioned a gift. So Daniel has one. He's going to be announcing here at the toward the end of the show. And also, you notice if you're watching, you should be watching live. The Big Insider Secrets, there's a stamp up there. It looks like a stamp. It's a logo, red and white. They are the sponsor of this very show that enables us to give away. I love this part. Every single show, we get to give away a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. And these are places from all over the world, and you get to choose your destination. The winner gets to choose. You must be watching live. Stick with us to the end, and I will reveal how you can enter to win that unbelievable prize. We had a winner last night, our last show, which was past Thursday, and I was excited to be able to give that away. And you also don't want to go anywhere, because Daniel will be announcing some incredible high-powered gifts as well. And so before I finally shut my trap and let Daniel do some talking, I'm going to give him the introduction he deserves, because he is an amazing guy. Daniel Aaron is an inspirational author, speaker, and CEO of, you guessed it, The Art of Vibrant Living, an international entertainment, education, and empowerment company. And he helps spiritual people raise their vibration and empowered actions in the realms of mindset, business, finances, health, emotions, and practices, so they can finally get their physical, earthly lives to match up with their values, vision, and potential. And yeah, he is an author, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that big, beautiful book that I held up earlier, The Art of Spiritual Leadership. We'll get into that a little bit, I hope, if Brian will ever stop talking. So, Daniel, when you get up in the morning, this is something of all people I am so deeply interested to hear from you. When you get up in the morning, you're an entrepreneur. You've faced adversity. You've faced challenges. You've faced setbacks. That's kind of the definition of an entrepreneur. But for you, when you get up in the morning, because you're still doing this and you're still highly successful at it, when you get up in the morning, what is going on in that big, beautiful brain of yours when you wake up knowing there's another arduous task possibly looming, or there's a deadline that, geez, I don't know if I'm going to make it, or there's a client that's upset, or whatever? No, they can't be upset with you. But anything that's going on, what is it for you in your mind that's going on when you wake up that keeps you driven and powering through each and every single day?
Well, it's a great question. And I guess I'll start by saying, to the best of my ability, that world is not going on in my mind when I wake up, right? Like, I make a very strong point of keeping my phone on airplane mode, and I don't turn it on to, allow the outer world to enter until I have had invested in myself, my connection to spirit, my own mindset, which, for me is probably at least an hour, sometimes more like 2 hours first thing in the morning, to make sure that, this isn't exactly the right word, but that I'm right with myself, that I am centered, that I have connected to something beyond myself. Because, yeah, as you said, every day in the world of entrepreneurship, and really in the world of life, guaranteed we're gonna face some obstacles. There's gonna be some problems. There's gonna be some things that don't go the way I wanted them to go.
No way. Come on. Even you? That can't be true. Do you ever notice that some people will look at someone that they perceive to be more successful than themselves, and they put them on a pedestal, and in their eyes, they don't have the crap that happens all day long, multiple times a day that they are going through. Have you ever noticed that? Have you talked to people that fess up that that's what they feel about?
Yeah, I've never done that. Both hands up on that one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to know for everyone out there that no matter how successful one is, actually the more successful one becomes, the more stuff you have to actually deal with. It's the opposite of what a lot of people think. Are you finding that to be true, Daniel, where that a lot of people think, well, I'll become successful, I can just swing on my hammock and drink those umbrella drinks and it's easy street from here on out because I achieved success? Or is it the opposite, that it's even more and more challenges that come your way because you're scaling and growing?
Well, exactly so. Yeah. I mean, the more we grow, the more our capacity grows, the more life invites us to contribute more, to understand more, to learn, to expand. It's part of why, even though I've been deeply immersed in the spiritual world for 30 years, I don't really like the word enlightened because it implies, well, dark and then light. It implies some finished state. And that's just not how it is. Life and evolution, spirituality is all about continuing to grow and expand. And the way we do that is through challenges, opportunities, things that are at first not comfortable.
And it just sounds like you're defining an entrepreneur when you say all that. I mean, that's what makes it such a perfect fit for you, and what makes it so likely for you to be so successful, because you already know the recipe and you know what to expect. That's one of the things I found, that especially people just first starting out, like I have nothing against network marketing whatsoever. I used to co-own a network marketing company, so I'll put that out there. But so many of those companies will put it out there. Their messaging is such that all you need to do is invite a few friends and tell your doctor and your neighbors, and then clone yourself into having one of those be like you, and then sit back and rake it in. It's a super simple process, and it's one of the hardest models to work at to be successful, because you have to do more than a typical, like you and I, Daniel, entrepreneur that are doing their own thing with their own services. We have more freedoms. We don't have policies and procedures to abide by that are constraining in many cases. But with network marketing, the messaging I've seen broadly, I'm painting with a very broad brush. This isn't every company, but they seem to put that teaser out there that, oh, it's easy, it's instant. You just recruit 3 people, they recruit 3 people, and that's it. It's easy street, baby. What's the truth, Daniel? Is it like that?
Well, I don't know that there are any shortcuts on anything. Personal growth, entrepreneurship, multi-level marketing. I'm not a fan of the thing of, well, it's all about hard work, because I don't believe that's true. That's a limiting belief. Though I do feel strongly that there's no pill that we can take or instant way to get success. There's a journey involved.
Yeah, and we may have a slight disagreement on this one topic, but I always hear this one thing: work smarter, or work harder. No, work smarter, not harder. That's it. Work smarter, not harder. And I always say, I have a different theory on that one. It's work smarter and work harder. Why not combine both and really kick it like exponential? I'm not saying to work yourself 14 hours a day and go crazy, but if you're working smarter, it enables you, in my humble opinion, to work harder, because you just gave yourself some efficiency and some time to add more and make it about what you were working the same level as before. Does that make sense, or am I like off my rocker?
Well, absolutely. I'm with you. It's, the smarter we work, the more effective we work, the better we can create, we can serve, we can give. So our capacity expands. There are, for sure, there's the fantasy that happens, and the popular concepts of the art, what do you call it? The law of attraction is, just visualize and it will all come. It's faulty. It doesn't work that way. So yeah, we're always looking for the sweet spot where it's like I am working smarter, I am putting in good effort, and I'm also taking the time I need to take care of myself, my mindset, my body, my family, to have the recreation I need, that the balance of that. That's why I call so much of what I do the art of, because there is no, there's no science to it. We have to be feeling into it and adjusting all the time.
That's one of the things I love about just life is that, when I first started in this world, I was a completely different animal than I am today, Daniel. I mean, I was very regimented. I grew up in a great family. I mean, can't say anything horrible about my parents ever, because their intentions were always the best, but it was very regimented, discipline oriented, because he was Air Force, and it was go work a job, get a job, retire, and then die, and that was the way to go. And I didn't realize it for a long time, but I wasn't wired that way. And it was like kind of keeping me constrained. And I'm like, what is wrong? I don't feel right. I don't want to do this anymore. So I did the corporate thing, and I'm so glad to find the way to break those shackles and get loosened from that. Because for me, it's freeing, but for a lot of people, it may not be. So when you are doing your business, the art of vibrant living, I want to jump right into it, because what you do for people fascinates me, and I want to learn even more about it myself. I mean, you're doing all these incredible, wonderful things behind the scenes that probably very few people are privy to. I'm not going to disclose them here. I just want people to know that Daniel takes his business very seriously, because he takes you seriously, his potential clients and his current clients. And he takes your results seriously is really where it comes from, because he loves everyone and he wants nothing but the best. And so for you, Daniel, your business, who is it that you cater to? What is your target market? And also, what kind of services do you provide for them? I mean, we kind of sort of teased on the opening with the bio, but I would like to get a little deeper. And then if you have a success story or two to share with that, I'd love to hear that as well. I'm going to bring up your website so people can get a look at that while you're explaining all this wonderful juice. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
All right.
Well, in terms of who I work with or who is attracted to my kind of work, the easiest way for me to say it is spiritual people who are craving more, be that income, impact, money, meaning, vibrancy. And it's a little bit silly to say spiritual people, because the truth is everybody's spiritual. If we're alive, we're spiritual. It's the definition, right? On the flip side of that, though, there are some people who really identify as spiritual. They have usually some really high aspirations in terms of their values, their vision, their potential, big hearts. And oftentimes it's those people who struggle on the business and financial level. So, what I do is help them to adjust their mindset, their way of seeing the world, their beliefs, and their actions, so that their physical earthly lives can actually match up to that vision, values, and potential. As far as how I help them or what we do, it depends a little bit. I work with one class of people that really are just looking for transformation. They want to, maybe they're a little bit stuck. Maybe they know there's something else available for them. And so I have a 7-week program called Living the Vibration of Vibrancy. And it's where we take spiritual technology, bring that together with some really core key principles and distinctions for life, and create some actions and rituals that empower them. I think of it as the missing owner's manual for how to live a vibrant life that most of us just never got. And then I have another program that's specifically for people who want to bring the business side in. It's called the 6-Figure Spiritual Entrepreneur Program. And that's where I give guaranteed results to people to add 6 figures to their business, or to create a business that is really in alignment with their values and their vision, with their heart, that's congruent.
Fantastic. So that involves developing a business in that one, and the latter one, is that part of it?
For a lot of my clients, it does involve either developing a business or advancing the business that they already have.
Okay. That's phenomenal. And guaranteed results. I mean, nobody can ever complain about something like that. And that's what I love. So you're saying a lot of things. This is interesting, Daniel, because I don't know, the last 5 or 6 guests that I've had on the show, they have hit this in a different way. The same topic though is that if you find something you love and you're passionate about it and you know it, then your odds of succeeding are much greater. But if you're not doing something you love, if you're not doing that, something you're 100% passionate about it, it's a struggle. I can say that knowing I'm a card carrying member. When I used to have a fitness business before the one I'm in now, I had no idea. I loved fitness. I loved everything about it. I didn't love it like I thought I would love what I'm doing now, which involves a lot of automation. But it's just amazing how that shift, it changed everything in every moment of every day of what I did. Even the arduous tasks, they weren't that bad because the big game, the end result was I love what I get to do. Do you find that is something that you are able to help people to find it if they haven't yet found what they're searching for? Or is that really kind of their own journey that they must go down and you just maybe guide them down that path?
Well, I suppose it's a combination of both those things. The two key concepts that come to mind for me that I think are both essential here. One has to do with congruency, because if we are doing stuff, in our business or in our life that really isn't in alignment with what we believe, what we feel, what we're passionate about, then it's like there's this rent that opens up and we're torn apart, and we're always on some level sabotaging ourselves because it's not true to who we are. We have to be integral, right? We have to have integrity. And then the other part is imposter syndrome, which is so, I mean, it's a factor for everybody. What I find though, especially with spiritual entrepreneurs, it's even stronger because it's so easy to have these idealized fantasy images of what it means to be spiritual. And so many people I work with, including myself, like every day, come up against, I'm not pure enough, I'm not spiritual enough, I'm not good enough, and therefore I shouldn't be here. Who wants to hear from me? And of course, it's the process of working with both those issues, the incongruence that can plague us, as well as the imposter syndrome, that empowers us and becomes a significant part of the value we offer others as we I don't even want to say the word conquer because that implies an ending, but as we continue to move toward mastery in those areas in our own life, then we have more and more value to bring to other people. We're automatically a model for that and empowering other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm curious, so when someone is going down the path of mastering something and they're not yet there, but they are doing some things that provide value, isn't there always a tendency to feel like you're still an imposter as you're going down the path of becoming, mastering a certain skill set or service or whatever that happens to be that you're offering people? And if so, when does that actually, in your work, when does that finally stop? When you finally feel like I'm no longer an imposter, I get it, I mean it, this is the real deal, and there is no imposter syndrome going on at all. This is it.
Yeah, it's a great question, and personally, I don't know if it does ever stop. It does. It has, for me. It has shifted its tone, its power, its level of hold on me, right? Because no matter how far we go, like we were speaking of earlier, life or spirit is always inviting us to grow more. And when we hit, that perceived limit of I'm worth this much or I'm this good, we have to break through that. That said, if we've had enough times of doing it, we start to spot it a little sooner and go, oh, yeah, I know you. That's imposter. I'm not. Okay, thank you. Okay, I recognize you. I appreciate your helping me to expand, and let's go. So the cycles become shorter, or in psychological terms, the refractory periods are shorter. We spend less time in doubt and suffering, and more time in, all right, let's do what we need to do to move beyond this.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to take a quick step back and a break, and I want to expand more on this in just a moment, because I want to pre-frame something here. People will get it after it happens, but a quick ad spot, and then we're going to come right back. So don't go anywhere. You either, Daniel, and we'll be right back. Just a moment. So if you're struggling with putting a live show together and it's overwhelming, and maybe you just want a lot of the processes done for you while still enabling you to put on a high quality, top shelf show and enabling you to connect with great people just like Daniel Aaron and grow your business all at the same time, then you'll want to head on over to carpetbombmarketing.com and write that down. Don't head on over there. Write it down. Carpetbombmarketing.com. Saturate the marketplace with your message. Now, there's a real good reason I wanted to put that up there, because what's happening right now is Daniel is dropping some serious knowledge bombs of wisdom, and we're going to have some fun with that here real soon. And so as they're going through this journey of eradicating or eliminating or reducing that imposter syndrome feeling, what are some things that they can do while they're going through that journey? Or is it just simply what I would call seat time? Like if you're an auto racer, it just takes more time in the seat. It takes more time doing it. And that will help you to overcome that imposter syndrome, because experience trumps all. I mean, what do you say to that?
Well, certainly time in the seat makes a difference. And yeah, there are things to do. One of the things that I encounter as a common and significant problem for people I work with is they have that imposter syndrome, right? They're people that are oriented spiritually, but then they feel like, oh, I'm not worthy. I'm not pure enough. And so I say, well, what are you doing? What kind of spiritual practice are you engaged in? How are you consciously growing? What's your level of introspection? Because there's never an end to imposter syndrome, because there's never an end to our growth. That said, we know if we are not taking the steps, if we're not doing the things that we think we should be doing, like for years, I taught yoga, physical yoga classes. And if I stood up in front of a group and said, okay, well, yoga is really wonderful for you, and okay, do this and do that and do this, but I wasn't doing that stuff myself, I felt like a liar. I felt incongruent. I felt inauthentic. So yeah, there are things to do to be in alignment with not just what we say, but what we believe, so that we are constantly growing into our best, most congruent self.
And it's such a cool topic, and I'm harping on it for a reason. And one of it is just personal experience. Fairly recently, within the past year or so, I finally hit that spot where I thought, I don't have that feeling anymore. I honestly don't. The imposter syndrome is gone, because I found the sweet spot of what I love to do, and I love it, which meant that I got really good at it. Otherwise, I wouldn't like it if I wasn't good at it. If I wasn't good at something, I probably wouldn't like it at all. And so I got to that point, and it was like this unbelievable liberty and freedom, knowing that I could just be comfortable in my own skin. And if someone asked me a question and I disagreed with it, I would just disagree with it. Or if it was something that I couldn't do, or that wasn't part of my program or service, I was like, that's just not what I provide. Sorry. And I can stand behind it. And if it's something I can do, I crush it, And so it's so wonderful to put the work in and day out, where you finally get to that point. And there's so many things going on. It's like, is this something I'm passionate about? Is it something I really enjoy doing? Am I really good at it? Can I get results for the other person, which is really where the rubber meets the road? Can you get the results for your clients? So it's a wonderful journey. And as long as you stick to it and don't ever give up. I mean, you talked about something in the beginning. I don't know if you used this exact word, Daniel, but you said something about routines, or doing something like when you get up, you have your phone on airplane mode. How important are establishing routines, no matter what time of the day? I mean, I don't know if you coach people to do it at a certain time, or if you coach it at all, but I could imagine you probably do. How important are routines, or doing something methodically each and every day? How important are those to one's level of success, in your opinion?
Well, I'd say the only significance to them is that they're absolutely 100% essential. I think it was Aristotle, who said man is their habits, right? Woman is their habits. Who we are is what we do repeatedly. And and it was Augmendino, great success coach, who said the only difference between success and failure is the habits that we have, right? So, when we can develop a habit that serves us and then it becomes automatic for us, it's like it's making a deposit in who we want to be in our success, and it happens automatically. And people sometimes struggle with that idea, and we say, well, do you brush your teeth, right? And most people do, or they don't want to admit it, so everybody raises their hands. So that's a habit. It's something that we developed, and it serves us. In the same way, to me, absolutely essential. Yeah, keep the phone off of engagement first thing in the morning. Make sure you have some time for what I call the CDIP, creative dynamic inward process. In other words, take a moment to, or a couple moments to really look at who do you want to be? What's your future self? What are you creating? And as you mentioned earlier, mind, body, business. Use your physical body, move it. Absolutely essential. And there are different ways of doing all these things too. And I've got my kind of proprietary methods, which I think are the most effective ones. But absolutely having positive rituals that go on automatic are incredibly important.
It's interesting. And I love this because of all of these successful entrepreneurs I've interviewed, and it's been well over 3 years of doing this show now. I would say 95% of them have a standard routine or two. Like some will do it in the morning, some at night, some both. And they were all very different from each other. It wasn't the act that was so important. It was what fit them and what got them the results they were looking for that was important. And for those that didn't have a routine, I would just say, you just heard what their routine was. If you don't have one, try that one and see how that fits. And if it doesn't, change some things up. Watch the show again. You'll see another routine as we bring on someone else. And it's interesting because I used to do this thing as well, which I've fallen off the bandwagon of doing, which was reading affirmations as part of my routine. And I noticed things got better. Things were working more seamlessly. And then whatever happened and I lost track and I stopped doing it, just like when you work out and you stop going to the gym for whatever reason, then things started not being so easy anymore. I'm like, wow, there's something to this. I think it's, what do you think? Is it something to do with kind of programming your mind, your subconscious, to kind of do it on autopilot, what you're seeking, what you're focusing on? Or what's your opinion? Is it something else?
Well, let's see if I'm responding accurately to your question. What's essential to know about ourselves, all of us, is we have at least two parts, right? We've got what I call the human animal part, the survival part, right? The part that really all it cares about is ongoing life, survival. And so to that part, any discomfort, any change is dangerous. But then we get the other part, which is what I call human spirit or the eternal soul. And its aim is growth and adventure, and comfort is the opposite of that. So, what happens for a lot of us is we do some things that are successful for us. We have affirmations, or we meditate, or whatever it is we do. And then at a certain point we go, oh yeah, things are good. Cool. Well, and then we get comfortable and we stop doing those things. And then because life is about growth, if we're not growing, we're dying. It's one way or the other. Then we start going backwards and we start feeling, I don't feel so good anymore. And then usually at a certain point we go, oh yeah, what are those things that actually help me to move in the direction I want to go instead of backwards?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And it's like universal, because I kind of mentioned working out too, because that would happen a lot where I'd fall off the bandwagon after working out and just going, my God, I feel great. I'm alive. Meaning voracious. I'm like just energetic. Exercise is like the best drug on the planet without any side effects, except for living a great life. And then I would have those moments, like weeks, where I wouldn't do anything and go, man, I'm starting to feel like crap. I need to work out again. I just knew that that was the right prescription for what I was going through. Similar with, what you're talking about, and curious about the proprietary routine that you have. Is that involved in any of the programs you mentioned a little bit earlier that you offer?
Well, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's core to everything. When I spoke about the missing owner's manual, part of what I mean by that is we know, everybody knows this on some level, everything that is around us in the world, all the physical things, the people in our lives, everything started where? Well, it started as a concept. It started in energy. So years ago, when Einstein said the field is the sole governing environment for the particle, what that means is first there is energy, then there is a physical thing. So some people talk about that as the law of attraction or visualization, and there's something to that, of course. So if we understand that to create something, we have to imagine it, right? And then that's where Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge. We have to be able to imagine it, visualize it, feel it, right? And do that repeatedly. And it stands to reason then that if we do that poorly, we're going to get poor results. If we do that sporadically, we're going to get sporadic results. If we get good at that, and I would venture to say that's one of the most important skills in life, then we're going to get better and better at that and call that creating, manifesting, however we want to phrase it. It's how we create the life that we want.
The cool thing is I get to tell everyone that's watching and listening to this is that Daniel is a product of the product. I mean, we've had some really cool conversations. I'm not going to reveal any of them here. It's just, I can just tell everyone with all assuredness that he practices what he preaches. And he sometimes will double down on what he practices. I'll just put it that way, just to apply that extra oomph when necessary. And the cool thing is he's doing exactly, I'm sure, what he's teaching you and his clients to do to get the results that you want and that I humbly think that they deserve as well. Anyone seeking something by going to someone like Daniel, in my opinion, at that moment, they deserve it, because they're already looking for ways to improve not only their own lives, but once they do that, because it all starts with ourselves. Once you improve yourself, you are now enabling yourself to improve other people's lives at a much greater level. And that's another thing that I know Daniel takes care of himself. I get to talk to him, and he also takes care of his family. He's a family man. He's a great guy. I just want to lift him up even farther. I don't know if I can lift him farther up than he already is, but I'm going to do my best to keep doing that, push him up even higher. I think because I want more people to come in contact with you, Daniel, and to realize what a great guy you are. And not only that, but what you can do for people that they don't even have an idea right now. I know I would have been one of those people like, I have no idea I don't know what I don't know right now. So tell me, what do you know, Daniel, they can do to fix me up? And one of the things I always get a question for routines, as an example, is what's the sweet spot for how long does it take to get through one? Like, how early in the morning do I have to get up to get through the routine to finish it so I can actually get to do some work and get this business moving? Do you have any kind of recipe for the length of time it should take, or is that pretty much up in the air?
Well, yeah, there's a few guidelines that we can pop in there. I mean, first thing is creating a routine or playing with our existing routine. One, it has to be sustainable, right? So when people start meditating, and I have mixed feelings about that word meditation, but we can talk about that later. If say they're meditating or doing some kind of prayer or visualization, much better to say to ourselves, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes a day, right? Because then if I do it for 5 minutes every day, I am honest with myself. I can look at myself in the mirror and know that I've done what I said I'm going to do. That means I have integrity. That means I can trust myself. Much better that than saying, I'm going to do this for an hour every day, and then after 3 days being like, oh, I can't do it, it's too much. Plus, if we say, I'm going to do it for 5 minutes a day, what happens often is, well, that felt so good. Yeah, I want to do a bit more. But then it becomes extra, it becomes bonus. And so for everybody, everybody has to find their own way, the art of their own vibrant life. And it depends on, like, for me, it changes all the time depending on what the demands of the day are. Yeah, do I have a busy day with things I'm doing with my daughter, with my business, with clients, with appearances? Well, then that day I might have to get up earlier. You mentioned doubling down earlier. I love this thing that Martin Luther King Jr., one of my heroes, said. Somebody interviewed him and said, Dr. King, I understand that every morning you pray. How do you do that when your schedule's so demanding? There's so much responsibility. He thought about it for a minute. And he said, yeah, it's true. I do have a lot of responsibilities and I have a lot of demand on me. And on those days when the demand is even higher, when my schedule is even fuller, I get up extra early and I pray for twice as long on those days because I need to fill up myself, in his words, with Holy Spirit, right? But whatever it is for us to get resourceful, to get strong, to get clear in ourselves. The bottom line is there is no exact recipe. It depends on what works. And for me, for years, years and years, I had to push myself, like, hit myself with, come on, have some discipline. Well, eventually that passed because I got to really experience, if I don't do this stuff, this is what my life is like. This is what I feel like. If I do these things, this is what my life is like. This is what it feels like. And so it becomes natural because I feel the connection to the benefits that come.
Man. Because that's me right there. The discipline is like beating myself to do it all the time. It was always a struggle. Still to this day, it's like, oh gosh, I didn't sleep good last night, so I really don't feel like doing it. Right? Stuff like that. Life's moments, and I love that story. That was Dr. Martin Luther King. Was that who that was? Yeah. Phenomenal, because I was almost thinking, I'll bet I know what he's going to say, but to get up earlier, that was even better. To say that, and that really parallels the personal chat you and I had and what your reaction to it was. And you were doing something similar, and that was phenomenal. And that the reason I bring that up is because, again, it's very important for people, everyone listening, everyone watching, that when you connect with somebody, when you want to do something to improve your life, and you find that one person that has the knowledge, the skills, the recipes, the guidance to give it to you, you want to do it from somebody who is a practitioner of what they are preaching. And that's why I bring it all up, because this is the man that does it. If you're looking for, you might find somebody that is someone who is, what do we call it? Imposter syndrome. And they sound great. They're a polished speaker. They're polished in sales. And then when you get to the finish line, the starting line, and it's time to get the result, you're left with holding a bag of empty cash that you gave them to do nothing for you. So it's very important that you vet the people that you work with. And I can, with great confidence, say that this man is someone that will get you the results you're looking for. And he'll go to the end of the earth. I just feel it with this guy. And I say this guy, and he's right next to me. And I wanted to also bring up this amazing work you just finished recently. I think it was recently, The Art of Spiritual Leadership. And look at this. This is not just your little handout guide. This is a full, bona fide, wonderful, amazing book. Look at that beautiful thing. I was curious if you wouldn't mind. I'm reading the back cover of all of these people that you've impacted, that have put their thoughts on here. The stories and lessons in this book will change your life and benefit us all. That's quite a statement. That was Joseph McClendon III, another author. Oh my gosh. Listening to Daniel Aaron's account of his years of searching and self-discovery is a little like following the story of the early wanderings of the Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. I couldn't even say that right, but I get the Buddha. That was the worst one I could have picked to read, isn't it? This one I understand very well. I understood the last one. I just couldn't pronounce it. The Art of Spiritual Leadership will bring you instant upgrades ones that will change your life and our world. See, there's a common theme. It's changing one's own life and others who are impacted by this book. If you don't mind, take a few moments and talk about the reasoning behind wanting to write this book. And then what is this book all about? It is like the user guide you've been talking about all this time that we don't have, but maybe we do have it. I don't know if I'm on close or not, but I'll put you on solo so you can pull up your book if you want and sing its praises, because it looks like it was a life's work. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, the subtitle. So, The Art of Spiritual Leadership: 40 Laws to Transform Your Life and the World. And for me, what my motivation was, it's great working with private clients. It's great having these group coaching programs. I love the live events that I've run for years, in-person events, and I want to be able to help and affect beneficially more people. So what I realized years ago is what works best in transformation education is storytelling, right? And when I'm on stage and I'm working with a group of people, a lot of what I do is tell stories. Some of them are from my own life. Most of them are from people that we know or people we haven't met yet who have overcome obstacles, who have transformed. And when we hear stories, it lifts us up. And while it's not our story, say what Tina Turner did or what the Buddha did, right? That's not our story, yet we can imagine ourselves in that. And so we are automatically transforming, right? If somebody stands up in front of us and says, you need to do this, you need to do this, well, that works for some people, but a lot of people are like, yeah, no, I'm closing off to that. So if instead we can be entertained, we can go on a journey, a ride through stories. And by doing that, by sitting in those stories, by steeping in that tea, we get transformed, we learn things, we grow. So that's what it was about for me. I was like, how can I create an experience that's fun for people, that's interesting, that carries them along, and also helps them to get great results in their life? So there's also, each chapter has a set of exercises that are optional and people can play with and do. And it's been great. Yeah, it just came out last year, and it's really fun. It's just another way of being able to support people and reach people.
And it's amazing because I know firsthand, for me, I've been writing a book not actively, for years, and I'm like 95% done with it, and I'm still not there yet. I can understand or relate if it took some serious dedication and discipline to write this. I'm imagining it. I'm sure it was a work of love, but something like this doesn't come out in a couple of days, unless you're Daniel Aaron, maybe. But
not at all. And to address another part of what you asked, Brian, leadership, and the way I phrase the title, leadership, we often think of as I'm leading others, but 40 Laws to Transform Your Life and the World points to something we all know, of course, which is, who do we lead first and foremost? It's ourselves, right? Can I get myself to do the things I tell myself are important? Can I have my own life in order? Can I create myself to be in the kind of states that I know feel good for me, are uplifting for my family, my community, my clients, my business? It all starts from within. And when we create those positive changes and momentum in ourselves, then we are automatically creating benefit for others. We're automatically leading others. So whether someone is saying, hey, I want to be in a formal position of leadership in whatever way that is, or not, they're just going about their life, whether they're a student or a house husband or a housewife or, a coder, whatever they are, our vibration individually is affecting other people all the time.
I love that you hit that vibration thing. See, that was where my old self, I'd be going, whoa, that's a bunch of woo woo, and that came out with The Secret and the movie that came out and all that. That was where everyone got their first glimpse, I think, into, I can't think of the name of the book. It's escaping me. Think and Grow Rich, a lot of the concepts came from that book, and there was a lot more written on the topic than in that one book, which we later found. I mean, amazing, like secrets to success that weren't availed to the common person back then. And then the secret kind of started opening that veil. And at first I'm like, yeah, whatever. You can't just sit there and say, I'm gonna think myself into riches. It's not as simple as it sounds, but it is simple because all you have to do is practice it. And it comes with a matter. What do you say to those that are resisting, Daniel, because of a belief system? Maybe they're thinking there is no way what you're saying is going to help me in my life. It ain't going to happen. So convince me.
Sure. Well, first thing I would say is, hey, you get to choose whatever you want. There's a wonderful saying, which is argue for your limitations and they shall be yours. On the flip side, one of my colleagues, an astrologer friend, I love the thing she says, which is believe nothing, entertain possibilities. Because if we are so entrenched in our beliefs and they are limiting beliefs, disempowering beliefs, well, that's the end of the line. That's as far as we go. So I don't suggest anybody just believe something. I say they take it on as a hypothesis, as an experiment. Don't take my word for it. Try it out. Put some energy into it and see what results you get. But if any of us, like a parachute, stay closed, it's just not going to work.
If that isn't a bomb dropping moment, I don't know what is, brother. There we go. Yes. Smart bombs, knowledge bombs, bombs of wisdom. That all defines Mr. Daniel Aaron as I lose my voice. He is amazing, dude. Water. And that's incredible. It bombed the voice right from my throat. That was awesome. Yes. So, God, that was a beautifully, eloquently response. He eloquently responded to question because it all came down to it's that person's choice. And that's it. Isn't it interesting, Daniel, that our choice of succeeding or not can literally be a 1 or a 0, a choice, a decision we made and stick to, whether it's for success or whether it's not. And not, people don't intend to say, I don't want to be successful. But once they learn that they do have a choice, and it really comes down to, how did you said, argue for your limitations. And what was the rest of that?
They shall be yours.
I mean, that's perfect. My mentor, whom Mel Cutler, I don't think he coined this, but he said something to the effect of, you can either let circumstances control your attitude, or you can let your attitude dictate your circumstances. And the beautiful thing is, we're all human beings. Daniel's no exception. He is a human. And just in case you weren't sure, those of you watching and listening, he definitely is. We all have this thing called emotions. That's the beauty of being a human being. And some of those are negative, meaning anger, sadness, hurt, guilt. And those are natural. We do all, including Daniel, go through these negative emotions when circumstances smack us upside the head. We're like, holy crap, what happened? The difference between someone like Daniel and someone who's not as successful is the choices Daniel makes in responding to these situations. How quickly does he get over that negative emotion? How quickly does he choose to say, all right, that happened for me. I can learn from that. And now I'm going to focus on what I want. That is the key. And Daniel has the key. That's the lock. And Daniel has the key. And limiting beliefs, that's a big one in NLP circles where I come from, where there are exercises so you can literally eradicate limiting beliefs within 7 minutes per belief. It's like magic, but it's awesome. And so I would never have had these thoughts, Daniel. I mean, if we had this talk 12, 13 years ago, I would have said, you're full of it, man. You're a crazy dude. But I've learned a lot in the last 12 years that opened my mind, like you said, with a parachute. That's the key. Is what are those 3 deadliest words any of us could either utter out loud or even into our own brain that will just completely freeze and halt all future learning and expansion and growth? I know that, right? And if you catch yourself saying that, not you, Daniel, because I still catch myself saying it, but I don't think Daniel would. And that is, you could catch yourself saying that. I know that. And I wonder what else I can learn from that, because that will open it back up. And that way you're not kicking yourself in the butt for saying, I know that. It's like, hey, you made a mistake. Get over it. Move on. So that was a great, wow. That was like the whole show, because we just ended. I just looked at the clock, and because of Daniel's incredible genius, we're going to go a few more minutes, if that's okay with you, Daniel. I know you're all the way in Hawaii, so it's hard. Like, what is it, 9 in the morning now? I know it's not quite that early, but you do have, Daniel does have a couple of gifts to give out, so we're going to get to that. We're also going to get to the 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. That's coming up like right in a moment. And before we end every show, Daniel, I love to ask every guest this one final question. And the reason it's this one final question is because of what I experienced when I did ask it kind of randomly throughout shows. I'd sprinkle it in, and I thought, my gosh, these answers are just off the charts, profound. These are amazing. And so I thought, I'm going to end every show with this, because it's a great way to end. It's an uplifting way to end. And I know you're going to love it. And you're going to crush it on your answer to it. Before we do that, as promised, I'm going to put it up on the screen. Everyone who sees this, write this down. No need to go to it and start entering yet. I will be, myself and my team will be monitoring the entries after the show's over. You have at least an hour after the show's over. So write this down and then enter after we say goodnight. So here it is on the screen. For those of you that want to enter, and you, oh my gosh, if you're watching, you should enter. ryp.im/vacation. Write that down. That is the URL, ryp.im/vacation. Guest experts are allowed to enter as well. I've actually had some win. No kidding. It's pretty cool. One asked, can I enter? It's like, sure, why not? And they win. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. So again, that's ryp.im/vacation, a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort of your choosing in many, many areas of the world. Some are 5 nights. A lot of them are. Some are fewer nights. You get to choose. And it's all compliments of our amazing sponsors at thebiginsidersecrets.com. That's my buddy Jason Nast, another good friend of mine, who has enabled us to do this unbelievable thing every single show. And then there's the amazing Daniel Aaron, who has a couple of gifts. So let's get to those real quick, and then don't go anywhere. You do not want to miss this last question, because it's a doozy. I love it. So if you don't mind, I'm going to put this up on the screen, Daniel, and let you take it away as far as the first of the 2 wonderful gifts you have for folks.
Yeah, well, the first thing is what I have come to now with 30 years of deep diving into how to create and live a vibrant life, and it's my top 10 tips. It's a short guide, and just like you were saying before, Brian, the question isn't, oh, do I know that? It's, to what degree am I living that? To what degree am I applying that? And what I have found over and over again with these 10 tips, what are the most essential things for having a thriving life is the biggest room in my house is the room for improvement. And so with every one of these tips, I still find room for myself to grow and expand and apply them more in my life. And if you go for that, then I also give you a little video series with some backup videos to expand upon it if you wish.
My goodness. And the cost for this is going to be?
It's a gift.
Oh, that's awesome. And I appreciate that. I love that. The biggest room in everyone's house is room for improvement. That would epitomize, it's like a law of success, I think, to have that kind of mindset right there. And you can get this at the website that is located at Daniel Aaron. So that's Daniel with Aaron spelled with 2 A's, AARON.com/tips. So those of you listening on podcasts, you can go to danielaaron.com/tips. Those of you watching, you can see it on the screen and just write it down and then visit it after the last question, which is coming up in just a moment. And then we had, Daniel doesn't just stop there. He's going to say, I'm going to give away 2 things. I said, all right, if you want to, here we go. So I'm going to put that up on the screen, and you're going to love this one. Here we go. Go ahead, Daniel, take it away.
Well, with Brian, with your great commitment to books, leaders are readers. the Reach Your Peak library. This is a bigger investment for people, not a financial investment, because this is also a gift. Though to get the benefits of it, it requires the investment of actually reading, putting some energy into it. And I love the thing Jim Rohn said, make sure you read every day. If you have to skip a meal, but don't skip your reading. So this is the ebook PDF version of my book that we were speaking of earlier.
Wow. And what's the cost of this bad boy?
It's also a gift.
That is unbelievable. I kind of knew that, but I wanted to hear it. So this is not a small gift, ladies and gentlemen. This is like a person's, would you call it your life's work, or is it that profound for you? Do you have other books you've authored that I'm not aware of?
I have, and you're funny earlier talking about it's a thick book. It's not a pamphlet.
It's not.
The funny thing is when I wrote several versions before I got to this, and the last stage before this was literally twice as long, and my publishing coach kept on me saying it's just too long. You got to get it cut down. So I just kept trying to make it more and more essentialized to what's most important. So yeah, life's work, it's the best I know for transformation, and again, delivered through stories.
And you just gave it as a gift, and that's the true essence of Daniel Aaron. And here's the URL for those of you that are listening on podcast. Even if you're watching live, I will say it for you as well. DanielAaron.com/spiritual dash, or a hyphen if you prefer, leadership. So Daniel Aaron, remember 2 A's, DanielAaron.com/spiritual dash leadership. Important note, everything after the / on any domain name is case sensitive. So after the / in this case, every letter is lowercase. Spiritual dash leadership, all lowercase. DanielAaron.com. You can mix the case on Daniel Aaron and you're fine. So that is beautiful. Thank you so much for that, my good friend and buddy and pal. My goodness. I mean, this guy is on a path for massive success beyond what he's already achieved. And I know that because I work with this guy on a regular basis. And I don't know why I keep calling you this guy. That's just so not impersonal. That's the word. But this dude, this Daniel Aaron, he's just a joy to work with. He's so determined to get the results and increase the results, take it to the next level. You can see it and hear it in everything he's saying here tonight. He's got a lot to offer, and dare I say, he's got a lot to offer to you. And so with that, real quick before we do, that one question that I keep teasing about, there is a way for folks to apply to get more information from you, to maybe have a chat with you. If you wouldn't mind, I would be more than happy to put that up on the screen here in just a moment. Give people a little bit about what that is all about.
Yeah, sure. And you were kindly and accurately describing earlier about my insistence on getting results for people, or helping people to get to results. There's a caveat to that, which is I can't and won't work with everyone. So for me, I need to make sure that it's a fit. So before I work with anyone, whether it's for living the vibration of vibrancy or the 6-figure spiritual entrepreneur program, it starts with just me understanding you, what you're up to, what you want to create, and kind of measuring for both of us, is it a fit? Could we work together? And for me, can I guarantee that I can get you results? So, if you feel some resonance and you're like, yeah, I'd like to explore this, I'd like to get some help, then my invitation to you is let's have a chat. So the URL is danielaaron.com/apply. A couple of questions so I can understand you a little bit better, and then you can book directly into my calendar, and we can meet. And whether it's a fit or not, I will make sure that you get some great value out of it through the questions I ask, the clarity you get. And if I feel like I can't serve you, I will point you in the direction of some other resources that will help for sure.
Oh my goodness. And there was a lesson right there, Daniel, as you were explaining the fact that you don't work with everyone. I hope everyone looked at that through another lens, not just on the receiving end of a potential future client of Daniel's, also as yourself a business owner and what you should be doing. Be discerning over who you allow into your world. Make sure they are a fit. Not everyone with a credit card that has room on it that can pay for your program is a fit. Let's just put it that way. So you can have clients that literally become cancers to your company in the way that they will just suck your time dry with complaints and all these other things, or it's just a value misalignment. And that's what part of what Daniel will be determining, and you will be with him together determining if you're a mutual fit, because it's a two-way street. And that's the beautiful thing, because Daniel's going to be choosing whether or not you're a fit. Not everyone will be. And if that's the case, like he said, you'll walk away with a lot of value, some golden nuggets, and I can just guarantee that's going to happen. I just know Daniel too well. So that's danielaaron.com/apply. danielaaron.com/apply. Remember, apply is all lowercase. All right, we've gone over probably more than almost any other show I've done, and that's because of this amazing dude. He's just awesome, and I can't let him go. I'm going to have separation anxiety when we're done. So, Daniel, this question that we're going to end the show with, it is profound. And here's the cool thing about it. There is no such thing as a wrong answer. It doesn't exist. In fact, the exact opposite is the case. The only correct answer, besides the poodle walking by, is your answer. Yes, it just went by your left shoulder. That was awesome. We got a little animation going on. So he's like digging into this, like, what is this going to be? He's stuck. I love it. Not stuck. He's just focused. Are you ready for the big question? He's
Bring
like,
it on.
Bring it already. Stop it. All right, here we go. Daniel Aaron, how do you define success?
That is such a great question. The way I think of it and what I think of the art of vibrant living is success is 100% up to you. What's meaningful and important to you? Now, I think fulfillment, happiness, gratitude, joy, love, that's part of the equation. But the art of vibrant living and success is 100% according to your definition. And so success is, do you get what you want to create in your life? I love the thing Christopher Morley said. I remember this being on the refrigerator in my home when I was a kid. Success is living the life you choose.
You know how that's going to end this show, don't you? You know what's happening. Here it comes. Smart bombs, bombs of wisdom, knowledge bombs. That is all the epitome of one and only Mr. Daniel Aaron. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is the bomb. No pun intended. He is an amazing guy. Definitely reach out to him. Is your website the best means for people to connect with you, Daniel, or do you have any alternative ways for them to do that?
Well, I'm on most of the social media platforms, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, though my site's easy way and everything's there as well.
I love it. So be sure to go grab your ebook free copy of The Art of Spiritual Leadership, 40 Laws to Transform Your Life and the World. And the tips, what was it, 10 tips? That's another free gift. My goodness, the guy's just giving. And then if you feel you're a fit with him to take this to the next level, be sure to go to danielaaron.com/apply and just treat it and him with the utmost of respect. And he will do the same for you. I already know that. That's inherent. And really just make valid and good use of your time with him. Both your time is valuable. And I know that's what Daniel would say as well, that your time is valuable. So just get into it. He will lead the discussion and find out if you guys are a fit to take it to that next step that could change your life literally forever. And it's got this unbelievable guarantee that you got to dig into it. So Daniel, I just want to say thank you, brother. I know, and thank you for staying on late, even though it's not that late in Hawaii. It is late because you're spending more time than we signed up for. So I appreciate that, brother.
Well, Brian, thank you. It's such a joy to be with you. I love the work that you're doing in the world. The way you are helping people to create shows like this, the amazing knowledge and expertise you've been helping me with in the automation world is just astounding. So it's a real joy to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Ah, man. Love you, brother. All right. With that, Yeah, truly. With that, we do have to sign off. We don't have to, but out of respect for everyone watching and listening, and for this amazing guy, Daniel Aaron, I am Brian Kelly, the host of the Mind Body Business Show. And until next time we come on, please do your best to go out there and continue to serve others, help others to crush it. And above all, be blessed, everyone. Take care for now. Have a great one.
Aloha.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name